Black Legion has a long and vile history in the service of chaos, responsible for 10,000 years of carnage and destruction. Under the dominion of Abaddon the Despoiler, the Legion has risen to great and terrible heights, earning their place as one of the Imperium's bitterest foes. Abaddon's focus has always been the destruction of the Imperium and finishing the terrible work that Horus had begun. To this end, he allowed any warrior to join the Legion, provided they were willing to swear allegiance to him and him alone. To swear eternal loyalty to Abaddon and become a traitor space marine in the Black Legion is to become a warrior of the end times and stand triumphant over countless worlds turned to ash and blood. Welcome to my Black Legion army showcase. As you can see, quite a large collection. I've been collecting Chaos for about 20 years, but it's only the last 5 years or so that I've actually been painting them up in the colours of the Black Legion. Abaddon has always been in those colours because those are his colours, but it's only recently that he's actually had any genuine followers to accompany him into battle. So that's the full army. Let's get into a close-up and I will start talking you through some of the aspects of the army. So over on this flank we have the Nurgle contingent of the army. Most of the models are from the Dark Imperium box set, like this Marine here and this one here. In fact, most of them are. I've used a purple as the accent colour for these models, which I think goes nicely with the pale green that I've used. You can see a bit more purple on this model, along with lots of brass and wooden colours. I've also got various other sort of assorted models from over the years. This is a Plague Bearer with a las pistol, and this is a sort of, I don't know where this model is from, but it looks kind of nurgly, and so I've added that. They don't really see much play on the tabletop, but they're sort of interesting models that fit in with my collection. Most of them aren't really converted here, but one model that is heavily converted is this Dreadnought here, which you can see is based on an Imperial Space Marine Dreadnought, with lots of weird and wonderful components, green stuff. I don't even know where most of the parts came from, although I do know that this head came from Dorgar, which is Archaon's steed. So that's the Nurgle part. So here we have what you might call the more mutated part of the army, including a demon engine, a Forge Fiend, with a little Chaos cultist riding on the top of him. This has been painted a couple of times, but I think it looks its best in its current incarnation. I have a few Chaos Spawn, and they look weird, which is exactly what you want from Spawn. They're just made out of random components cobbled together to make something strange and lurid, and painted in bizarre colours. This one here is a bit more normal looking, I suppose you might say, made from a greater possessed on a bigger base. And these are my mutants. These are all based on images from the Eye of Terror Codex from way back in the day. And again, these are pretty random and weird. You see this one's got skeleton legs and a grenade launcher, and this one has a spine coming out of his head, green skin. This one here has a skeleton head and torso, some random arms. They're just all pretty weird. I want to make some more of them, but this is what I have so far, about 10. So here we come to the central section of the army with most of the big characters, including, of course, Horus Lupercal, War Master of Chaos. I'm so pleased to be able to own this miniature because it's truly stunning. I mean, look at the details and the pose and just the general epicness of this miniature. I put a lot of effort into painting him, and I'm really quite proud of what I've done here with this miniature. I think it's come out very well. Of course, I also have Abaddon the Despoiler. So I have this older model, which is this one here, the very original metal Abaddon the Despoiler, and I've touched him up since I originally painted him. He was so bad when I first painted him, and he deserved a bit of a touch-up, including repainting the sword. But he's since been superseded by this more modern miniature from a Wargame exclusive, which I think is just a better version of Abaddon. Funnily enough, I bought this about a month before the new Games Workshop Abaddon model came out. So I decided to stick with this one. I'd already bought it and started painting it, so I thought I'll leave the Games Workshop model, although you never know, I might get it one day. I own 3 Abaddons. So here in the central part of the army, I've also got various Chosen models, some Chaos Space Marines and Havocs. So let's have a look at some of these models. Here's one of my Chosen champions with a little book on his back and a purple power axe and little Auspex. I've also got, what have we got? This one here, banner bearer. You can see the flame details on here, which is mirrored in some of the other models, like this cultist over here. There's lots of flames all over the different models, sort of scattered throughout the army. That's the sort of thing that sort of pops out at different parts of the army. And of course, this is a conversion of one of the Dark Vengeance models. Got this aspiring champion here from one of the tactical squads, as you might call them. Quite pleased with this conversion. What else have we got? We got this metal model. So yeah, there's quite a few old metal models in the collection. I like to mix and match models from different eras. I'm quite pleased with this one here, which is an aspiring champion from the Dark Vengeance kit, who's got a converted axe and a nice paint job, I think. And of course, another old metal model. Really like this model. This is one of the old Chaos Lords. Really, really nice sculpt. The only thing that I've changed on him is his head. Got some Havocs, including this one with a converted bit from Cromlech, I think. The weapon, I mean. And this is a Shadow Spear model, so one of the more recent models, again converted. So there are various vehicles, not many vehicles, but here's one of the Rhinos with Forge World doors on it. More sort of glowing red and orange eyes to match with the flames that are on the rest of the army. Just move Horus there before he gets knocked over. So I'm quite pleased with the Predator here. This is a plastic Rhino kit with old metal Predator sponsons and turret mounted on it. It's really heavy for what is essentially a plastic tank. It's called the Hail of Death. And one of my pride and joys from this army. As I said, there's not many vehicles, but I've got, I'm quite pleased with the ones that I've got. I'll just pick the camera up so you can get a closer look at this Khitan demon engine from Forge World with a couple of conversions. You can see the gun mounted on the shoulder and a different faceplate and a hand from an Imperial Knight holding a dead, or soon to be dead, Ultramarine. This kind of forms the centerpiece of the army. So over here we have Abaddon again, who we've already seen, plus Terminators, Chaos Cultists, lots of them, and various Cornate models at the back there, and some Slaneshi models as well. So let's have a look first at the front here. We've got, these are metal Terminators, all of them. Very, very old models that I bought way back in the 90s. They've been painted a couple of times. Originally they were red and to fit in with my very first army, which was a Khorne army, but they've since been repainted as Black Legion and put on bigger bases, and now I think they fit really well here as the Bringers of Despair, who are Abaddon's bodyguard, really. And they're amazing in battle. We've still got lots of cultists, lots and lots of cultists, although they are led by this Dark Apostle. This was a gift from Martin. Thank you very much, Martin, for the gift there, and I hope you like the paint job I've done on this model. So let's have a look at a few of the cultists now. So these are all the ones with las guns or auto guns, or in the case of this champion, a shotgun. And the cultists just come from anywhere I can find anything that looks like a cultist. So we've got sort of Imperial Guard models with head swaps. We've got cultists of the Abyss, quite recent new models. We've got Forge World Renegades and Heretics models. I'm quite pleased with the pose of this one. Of course, we've got Dark Vengeance cultists, and this one is from the Blackstone Fortress expansion. Sort of a commander with a power fist. Use him as a champion, I suppose. Here we have a nice conversion that I did. This is a Chaos Lord, could be Nurgle or Slaanesh, really, made from a Legion Moritat model. I thought the pose was really good for a Chaos Lord standing on a rock. So here we have the Hounds of Abaddon. The Khitan was painted in the same colours. I'll pick one up and you can see exactly what I'm talking about here. But these are actually very, very old Khorne Berserker models. So this is an aspiring champion. And this is one of the original plastic Khorne Berserkers before the current kit. And I've reposed a few of them to make them look a bit more varied, because otherwise they're all identical. And there's a second metal model here, this one here, with a chainsword and a bolter. And I painted them up as the Hounds of Abaddon, so they can fit in with my Black Legion. Here's another model from the Hounds of Abaddon. This is a Warp Smith, converted up from another Forge World model, with an icon of Khorne on his back. And this one here, just a random kit bash from bits I had laying around, although some pretty impressive looking bits, I suppose you might say. Chaos Lord with jump pack or wings. So there are a few more characters over here. We've got Lord Zufor and another Chaos Lord. This is Thaxos, the Lord of the Wrath. Another cool scenic base, obviously. Another cool scenic base here for Fabius Bile. Another very old model from my collection, but has been touched up a little bit recently. I don't normally repaint, but I do sometimes touch up parts of models that weren't done very well, like, you know, these the Zyklos Needler and these Cherugian bits. And he is now accompanied, so these are some recent purchases, although they are old models, and these are the metal enhanced marines that's supposed to accompany Fabius Bile into battle. So this is the champion, and then there's another 4 of them, including this one here with the big bloated looking head and little kind of stimulant packs on his back. Yeah, they're cool models, and I'm really glad to own those as well and have them to sort of run alongside Fabius Bile. Up here we have a little assortment of random things. So we have this rather cool looking Hell Blade from Forge World, again with flames painted onto it. A nice fast flyer. Speaking of flying, we have a winged Demon Prince. This is one of the old metal Demon Princes. I just love Demon Prince models, particularly this one. We've got, this is one of my very first Chaos Lords of Slaanesh. Not a great model, but, you know, he's cool. And some mounted demonettes. I think they're now called Seekers. Painted up in a nice bright pink. So the last section of the army that we haven't looked at is the biker section, as well as these Hellbrutes. So here's one of them, Dark Vengeance Hellbrute, again with a sort of flamey pattern on him and grey skin. This one has similar look but with red skin. So you got to paint them differently, otherwise they're going to look identical, and we can't be having that. And over here we have a Doom Rider and some bikes. So, oh yes, we have Doom Rider. Really, really, really like this model. It's just cool. It's very kind of rock and roll, and just really over the top and very, very Warhammer, I think. It's a shame that it's not really, you can't buy a Doom Rider model anymore, and there aren't any rules for him in the current rule set. And we got some just sort of normal Chaos Bikers. And that's pretty much everything in the army. So I hope you enjoyed this look at my Black Legion army. I think it's quite an interesting and diverse force. I hope it was interesting for you to look at. And I'll probably add a few things to it here and there, but it won't grow tremendously over time because it's pretty big already and I've got other projects to focus on. Speaking of which, I will be doing more showcases of my other existing armies and of course future ones that come along. I just love building armies and showing them off. What's not to love? So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please have a look at my other videos and happy gaming.